Hey everybody, welcome back. Got a Sinister 6 T4 video for you. We've been working on these for a little bit, talking about the positioning, best team, etc. And we finally got something for you. So we're going to show you kind of how these guys position, who you want in your team, and we're going to go through the T4s. Actually got some of the non-member T4s on there for anybody who's just like, you know what, I hate the 5 that you've got. I really want to use this person, and I want to know what those T4s are. I'll go over that later in the video after I show you the wonderful graphic from Punk. Put a lot of work on this, and as always, I always like to shout out the Patreon for that. We've got a specific tier just for Punk, so for anybody who wants to support those efforts, and they are large, feel free to come by the Patreon, sign up. That money will funnel over to Punk. So we appreciate anybody who's willing to give support to help get these infographics out. So anyway, having said that, let's go check out this beautiful infographic.
Bring me WolverThor!
So here's the kind of further away view of the infographic. Same setup we've normally got. Up at the top, you know, like we mentioned before, there's a bunch of Sinister 6 characters. We ended up falling with Swarm, Mysterio, Rhino, Doc Ock, and Electro. We just felt like those were probably the best 5 that you could get. You know, we were talking about having Green Goblin and Vulture and all these different kind of mentions, and you see a little shout out to those guys in the back here. Green Goblin, I'll say, it's not going to make any lists more than likely. Unfortunately, Gabi's left out on this one. And then, you know, I can't tell if that's Shocker there or not, but... And then you've got Vulture. Vulture, Shocker, maybe, but this is the 5 we ended up with, and we're pretty happy with where that's at for a multitude of reasons. And then, as always, we got the listing of the infographic where it shows the character's name here. Got a little icon portrait of him with the ability, the colored rating, and if there's a damage increase rank. What that damage increase rank means is just where it ranks on the list of damage T4 increases as far as a bang for your buck. So if you see 85 here for Swarm's ultimate versus 45 of Doc Ock's ultimate, well, Doc Ock's ultimate means with the higher rating that he's getting a more of a damage increase than Swarm. Basically, that's what it means. Now, again, you got to factor in how many people it's hitting and all that, but it gives you a general idea of where it is on that spectrum. All right, so let's go check out these actual rankings and see how we got to these lists. All right, like I mentioned, we've got a bunch of alternate characters here. We did end up ranking these guys just so you could see them. Goblin's got a couple actually pretty good ones, basically because they hit hard. And then Shocker's got his special, which is fantastic if you use him. If you do use him, that's absolutely a requirement. His ult hits pretty hard as well, getting that third turn. And then Vulture, you know, his special was the one that we had as kind of an essential. The ult was pretty good, and then the other two were a little bit lower on the list. So those are the ones on the characters that we don't have on this kind of top 20 T4s for the team, given we're just focused on the 5. So let's start on that. So at the end here, we've got Swarm's basic. Both Yeti and I agree. The 30% damage increase and a rebound chain from instead of 1 to 2 to 2, it's very meh. Even the damage increase ranked at 185. Not really loving that. So if you're finding that your Swarm needs... the one part that I kind of mention here is that don't forget he adds 50% drain to this. So if you're finding that your Swarm needs some HP at this point when you're using this, maybe the T4 might work. We'll see. Yeti's comment, the 30% damage increase for a basic T4 upgrade is nice, but the chain to 2 adjacent targets is great. However, when you stack this ability up against all the others, it's the least impactful. At number 19, we've got Electro's basic coming in as his got T4s to spare, and that's the little color code in case you guys are not familiar with that. Essential, really good, solid, got T4s to spare, nothing else to use them on, and just don't. You can see there are no just don'ts on this. Electro's basic is a damage increase to a primary, which is a pretty weak upgrade. Maybe if you have a huge red zone Electro, I was saying it'd be okay, but otherwise I wasn't going to do this. It's ranked 103rd. Yeti's comment here is rather mundane basic upgrade, adds 40% damage, but at least the earlier upgrades on this fill the speed bar by 20% on Electro. At number 18, we both have Doc Ock's basic. That comes in ranked at 44th, which is actually a pretty good upgrade. And thing to note is Doc Ock's T4s, they currently affect the summons that he brings in. So if you bring in like an Electro, or a Shocker rather, it's important to know, like, well, if I think Shocker's specials worth the T4s, and that's what I'm bringing in, you might want to look at Doc Ock special, and if you were on the fence, that might be something that pushes you over it. Same thing with this basic is, for Doc Ock, it increases his damage by 30%, and it cannot be dodged. It's a pure damage increase, a good one, but the ability won't be used all that often. Again, it depends on, how long these battles are going in these the war defense situations. You're really looking at the alt and special with some basics, and then you'll get some basics going, and maybe that's a part to consider it. I don't know. We'll see. The Yeti comment here is the additional 60% damage is really good, but combined with the cannot be dodged and apply slows, ensures that you control what you need to without RNG. Our first difference at number 17, I've got Mysterio's basic, which comes in ranked at 133rd damage-wise. It gives you an additional 50% damage and clears an additional positive effect to 3. As opposed to 2. It's not a great damage increase, but that added positive buff clear is nice, especially when you're looking at the summons that he's going to bring. Yeti has at 17. Swarm's passive, his comment is fairly unexciting, but the increased healing is, if charged, is great. The additional 2% dodge chance per charge is an additional cherry on the top, but it's still a nice upgrade to have. That's when I've got Swarm's passive at 16. He talked about what it is a little bit on turn. If you're charged, you heal for an additional 10% of max HP, and you're gaining that 2% dodge per charge. So it's okay. My comment here is that I can't bring myself to rank this any higher. I believe the 10% heal and passive healing from Ox blocks will keep him alive just fine while he's charged. Coming in at number 16 for Yeti is Rhino's basic. His comment here is a very generic damage increase of 50% for a basic, but brings nothing else. The basic is very boring. Coming in at 15, I've got Rhino's basic. That's rank damage is 71. It's a high damage rank, but, Yeti kind of covered it pretty well. At 15, that's where Yeti's got Mysterio's basic, so he's got it as a solid as opposed to I have it as got T4s Despair, so a little difference there. His comment is, I love how this basic can clear 3 positive effects, but the occasion that your target will have that many is very rare. I do like the 50% damage increase. Coming in at number 14, we both have Mysterio's special, the 30% chance to gain assist from a random ally, which brings it to 100%. If that target is a city hero, it's another 30% for an ability block, which, I'm not really worried about that at this point anymore. This is really about the guaranteed second assist, so that 30% chance to get a random ally, that's really what you're doing this for, and in my opinion is enough to do it. But since it won't be used a lot and there is no energy battery on this team, I'm not in love with it. Yeti's comment, if you've been following along, you'll know that I heavily favor always gaining an assist from allies' ability upgrades because you can rely on the damage increase. So he likes that because of the guaranteed assist there. Coming in number 13 for both of us is Electro's special. This comes in ranked at 104. It's a 40% damage increase of primary and a bonus attack for 40% damage per positive effect. But that's got RNG to it. Can be devastating attack in certain situations if there's a lot of positive buffs. Which I don't love RNG situations on these, so that's why I can't put that one necessarily higher. Yeti's comment is, it's not often that we see damage increases that are more significant on the secondary targets, but this is one of them. 40% on the primary and 50% on the secondary, but when you scale, it's per positive effect on the target. This could be used like an execute, much like Carnage's special, which is very true. So it's very situational there. Coming in at number 12 for myself, I've got Rhino's special, which is a damage rank of 32. It's an additional 60% damage to primary and adjacent. It's another high damage rank for Rhino, which you're going to see multiple times for this guy. High reds on this guy, and you definitely want a lot of T4s on him. So if you got a big bad Rhino, you're going to be looking at a lot of T4s because he can be hitting really, really hard. At 12 for Yeti is Mysterio's ultimate. His comment is, we are seeing a trend of 60% damage increases, and he loves it. But when you are hitting all enemies for this level and increasing and combining this with heal block for 2 turns, yow! This is not an essential, but you don't want to miss this. Coming in number 11 for myself is Rhino's ultimate, ranked number 33 in the damage ranks. his 60% damage for primary and adjacent, and then there's a city hero damage boost, which again, don't really care as much about that one anymore. It's one of the it's another one of the damage increases for Rhino. So it's one of those, again, high reds, you're going with a lot of T4s on Rhino. This is where Yeti's got Rhino special, which I had just one below this. His comment here is Rhino has great stats, and while the upgrade seems very straightforward, will do some great damage with another 60% damage increase to primary and secondary. Again, great damage for Rhino around. At number 10, I've got Mysterio's ultimate. It's ranked 90, so that's 2 spots ahead of where Yeti has it. The 60% damage increases, like he said, to all enemies. You're applying heal block to all enemies as opposed to up the 2. So that in itself is a really big one for me. Really solid damage increase and puts heal block on all enemies instead of just 3. So you really, really like that. And it's a pretty solid upgrade. Rhino's ultimate is what Yeti has at number 10. Do you sense a theme again? With a damage increase of 60% for primary and secondary targets, this will do a lot of damage for you. However, there's a great surprise of 5% per city hero enemy. If you have the off chance you get to find defenders, this will obliterate the enemy team. Coming in at number 9, I've got Electro's passive here. It's ranked number 8 is damage. And normally when you see a damage increase this high, I've got it as an essential. But, so looking at the ability, when you have 5 charges, you're going to attack the most injured enemy for an additional 100% damage for a total of 300%, which is huge. It's a monster damage increase. It's just big, right? But it relies on other dynamics in the match. And for me, that's where it kind of dropped a little bit. So I couldn't put this up higher because of I don't want to call it RNG per se, but it's situational. You need other things happening. Kind of like, it is passive damage, which is nice, but the last note I have here is this is an insta-kill upgrade. So you're going to see a lot of people really loving this. Coming in number 9 for Yeti is Swarm Special. His comment is, the fact that this special applies Disrupt is significant, but combined with the additional damage that Swarm can do, this is a devastating ability. The 60% damage to primary target, 30% damage to all bonus attacks. What is staggering is that if the primary target has defense down, you will apply slow. Gotta love the power creep. I'll get to that special and he'll get to that passive shortly. Electro's ult, we both have in number 8. The 50% piercing to primary and applies offense down for an additional turns, for 2 turns instead of 1. It's a solid attack to all, but I think the real winner here is the offense down for 2 turns. Gotta like that. And then my comment was, assuming Doc Ock is not bugged at the moment, or at that time, whenever, depending, because he was bugged when he was first released. And then Yeti's comment for the same ability, Electro's ultimate, is the piercing damage remains one of those damage types that is easy to overlook, but 50% piercing damage should get your attention. Combine this with the fact that offense down for 2 turns, he's excited about it. Coming in at number 7 for myself, Swarm Special, ranked 46. Another high damage upgrade. So I've got that 2 higher than where Yeti had it. My comments, again, it's the additional damage to primary and applying Disrupted. If Disrupted is applied, then bonus attack. And this is how this should read. The way this reads in game is it's just backwards because it doesn't make, when I first read it, I'm like, well, he's not going to have Disrupted when he uses it. He's not going to have defense down. This doesn't make any sense. But the thing is he's got the chance to apply it. So it's a very RNG based attack. So primary, if the Disrupted gets applied, then you're going to bonus attack. And if you apply defense down, then you do another bonus attack and apply slow, which is great. So you can get these multiple hits going if he applies the negative effect. But again, that's RNG related. Turn 1 ability, and this is how this ability should be written. Again, how I read it above. And this would be an essential, if not more, RNG in landing these abilities. Mysterio could be key here in making sure that he does land it with that additional focus. Coming in at number 7 for Yeti is Doc Ock's ultimate. His comment is another ability from Dr. Octopus that is a 60% damage increase. Gotta love the support character who can bring the pain. Coming in at number 6 for myself, Swarm Ultimate. This is ranked number 85, but hits all characters. And I will say this is a great ultimate. It is really, if you get to this point in a match, it is decimating a team. 50% damage increase to all enemies, applying bleed for an additional turn. So 2 turns of bleed. It's a turn 2 ability, and like I mentioned, can decimate another team. I highly rank damage before factoring in the 15% from Doc Ock. And it bleeds for 2 turns. Gimme. And then coming in number 6 for Yeti is Rhino's passive. His comment here is, Rhino's health pool is going to be a monster with T4s and a full team of Sinister 6 with his T4. The upgrade is plus 10% per Sinister 6 ally, and when you combine with the summon from Doc Ock, this is just nutty. I do love the last line to this upgrade that upon blind, Rhino will get a 25% speed bar fill with the blind. That's huge. This is how you protect the team on defense against Brotherhood and how you win when attacking Marauders. Coming in at number 5 for myself, I've got Doc Ock's Ultimate at 45. So I've got that as, 2 spots ahead of Yeti, and I've got it as an essential, whereas he's got it as a really good. So it's still a solid one. I'm considering essential. Again, remember, this currently affects summons. So for Shocker, that means a third hit on the offense up and an additional 60% damage. This is for Doc Ock, the 60% of damage to all. It's a great damage increase. This high of a damage rank that hits everyone, yes please. Coming in number 5 for Yeti is Electro's passive. So you can see he's got this much higher than where I had it. I had it way down here at 9. This is one of our bigger differences in the rankings. He has this at 5, and his comment is, anytime we see a plus 100% damage, it raises the excitement factor for a bit, especially when it's directed towards the most injured enemy. With the amount of people on the team, this goes off a lot, and you can ensure you're getting kills with this upgrade. Coming in at number 4 for myself, Rhino's passive, so I've got that a couple spots higher than Yeti. It's the additional HP per Sinister 6 ally, makes this guy a super beefcake, and if you have him on the team, that's why you do it. So you want the more HP. Coming in at number 4 for Yeti is Mysterio's passive. His comments here, we have another giant wall of text passive, and it's good too. The 5% focus for Symbiote on the mind. For Spider-Verse allies on the team in war, summoning an extra mirror image, which is nice benefit, but not reliable. The big winner here is that the mirror images get 40% additional damage. Now, I've got Mysterio's passive at number 3. Again, it's a 5% focus for Self and Spider-Verse. So you get a 20% focus. On death, you guaranteed the 2 mirror summons instead of the 1 to 2. And for me, that was big because with his rework, where you're going to actually be able to potentially bring him back on the 1 summons special. Now, the part I don't love about that, it's a turn 2. So it's like, okay, that thing needs to survive for 2 turns. So you need high reds on Mysterio so that they can at least take a hit. On death, you summon the 2 mirror images, and then like Yeti mentioned, the 40% mirror damage. If you summon those, you get, like I mentioned, the 1 special ability. We'll see. And it could be a pest, so if you can get this where you keep bringing Mysterio back, you really, really like that. But it really, in my opinion, should give you 2 to 3 summons. I think that is where it should be. And, the summon for 2. Anyway, all right. Moving on. Yeti coming in at number 3 with Swarm's Ultimate. He's got that 3 spots higher than where I had it. His comment here is, I really like attack all abilities because they're always strong. However, I think this is the first one that applies 2 applications of bleeds for 2 turns. He loves it. Coming in number 2 for myself and Yeti is Doc Ock's passive. Now, I wrote in parentheses here in bold, war only. And again, remember, this affects his summons. In war, you gain 15% damage. For chargeable Sinister 6 allies gain plus 15% damage is the only upgrade. That's it. So if you don't care about war, this falls all the way to the bottom. All the way. That's it. It doesn't matter unless you care about war, okay? Yeti's comment here, the key here is the global 15% more damage in war for the entirety of the Sinister 6 team, which includes the summons for Doc Ock. Coming in at number 1, it is Doc Ock's special for both of us. Again, affects summons. My comment here, this is a must if you have Shocker as a summon, which in our situation we're recommending. You apply an additional charge, so 3 charge up to a maximum of 10 to Self and all chargeable Sinister 6 allies. It's a solid upgrade that helps keep Swarm stay alive and keeps Electro firing off her passive. Yeti's comment here is, while the ability only grants plus 3 charge, it actually grants specials to the Doc Ock summoned Sinister 6 teammates, making this extra powerful. So that's it. That is our top 10, top 20, top 10, top 20. I got top 10 on my mind as well. It's the top 20 T4 upgrades for the Sinister 6. It's that team of 5, all 4 of them, showing you exactly what these guys are going to look like. And again, this is what the final infographic looks like. Punk puts a ton of work on this. If you guys want to check out the links in the description below, we've got the Discords for each one of us. If you want to come chat, discuss these things, these get posted on all of our different Discord servers. got them available for you. The video is here to try to help walk you through some things, explain why we maybe did it, to see the differing opinions for Yeti myself. So if you play the game slightly differently, maybe one of us kind of fits with you a little better, but we want to do one for the masses so that we're trying to take a nice range of thoughts and then we get it out in one infographic. And again, I want to mention that we recommend the positioning from left to right as per this infographic shows. So you got to think about that with your Doc Ock and your Deflects, etc. So, and then we put our characters that we want to stay alive kind of on the ends. Typically, depending on the situation, that's how it worked for this one. So thanks for watching the video. We really hope this helped you kind of finish out your Sinister 6. As I mentioned, come to the Discord chat if you have any problems with this, if you think we missed something. We always like to chat about that. And when we come out with the ISO 8 upgrades for these guys, you know, maybe we rework these because somebody said, well, wait a minute, what about this? Like, you know what? That's a very good point. Share with your alliance mates, grandmas, grandpas, cousins, nieces, nephews, all those people too. They might care about Sinister 6 T4s. Hammer down that like button, subscription bell, notification button, all the good widgets and gadgets below. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.